Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and Iman here from the Block Runner, and today we're going to be talking about Polkadot, one of our favorite projects that we've been kind of covering for the last couple of months. And just recently, they were listed on Coinbase. Who would have thunk it, Iman?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect timing, I guess.
Yeah, right?
It almost feels calculated. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Right whenever things are starting to pick up, right? Like of course Coinbase wants some
yeah.
of that action, some of that juice.
It reminds me of when Uniswap dropped their token. The next day, it was on Coinbase. Like they almost like FOMO'd into Uni.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I think Coinbase philosophy, like they like to see proof of everything, right?
Yeah,
Before you get listed on there, like there has to be,
proof of
and
traction.
everyone's been kind of waiting around to see if Polkadot is actually going to be realized or not. It's been a long wait process,
Hmm.
but the beginning pieces are starting to happen. So
Do you think that getting listed on Coinbase still has that same allure that it used to have like 2 years ago?
I don't think so.
You don't think
No.
so?
Nah, I mean, especially with like the power of dexes these days, like why do people care?
Yeah,
You know, you could make a project completely powered by decentralized exchange ecosystems, and
yeah,
what do you need Coinbase for? I mean, Coinbase still has a lure, like from like a retail perspective, right? Things like, the
so
Norvy investor
yeah,
has easy access to those things.
yeah, yeah. But in this case, it's launching on Coinbase Pro, and I think this is the first step to launching on the regular Coinbase. So this is a precursor to Normie Access.
But it is a big deal, yeah, exactly, because it's been kind of hard to figure out how to get Polkadot tokens. Like
Yeah, it has.
yeah, like a lot of people missed out earlier on. I think you only get them on Kraken, right? I think.
Yeah, it was Kraken and like other exchanges. I think there's like a handful of others. Binance.
Yeah, but so Polkadot's a good example of like, oh, you can't rely on dexes. You couldn't get this on Uniswap
Yeah, that's true.
dot tokens. So I guess this is a big deal, and yeah, it's
But
a
you
good
know why,
market.
right? You know why you couldn't get on Uniswap? It's because it's not an ERC20 token.
True. But I mean, they could have always created some kind of like placeholder ERC20 token,
Sure.
like a lot of projects do, and then once they're ready to do that transition, you could claim your, tokens or
Yeah.
swap them or whatever.
So that's what I was gonna say was that that's why it's important. These cross chain dexes are gonna be important because that's what's needed. You want to be able to trade your ERC20 for some other token type.
100%. So
But
yeah, that's the next phase. But anyways, yeah, back to Polkadot.
yeah,
Yeah, we've been talking about Polkadot for months now, and we said once things start picking up, it's going to become one of our main focuses as far as like what to cover on the channel, right? Just
hmm,
because we think it has so much promise and potential. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Polkadot that stood out amongst you and I, like evaluating all the different chains we've seen so far, right?
yeah, it was a great name though.
Maybe it was either that or maybe it was the whole Gavin Wood effect.
Yeah,
That might have played a big role into it. Like if you understand the dude's like role in like the early days of the Ethereum ecosystem,
yeah, for sure.
I think that might be like a big component to why do we have such
Well, not only
gravity.
that, I mean, we understand that there's a need to kind of connect every single blockchain. I mean, I think that's largely why they're called Polkadot because they're connecting the dots,
Mhm.
right? And
That's cool. I never thought about that.
yeah,
Yeah, could be.
yeah, because like a dot represents an entire siloed blockchain, right? And so now it's like a network of dots. But anyway, yeah, it goes back to potentially just Gavin Wood being one of the core contributors to Ethereum, and now he's starting this project that connects every single blockchain or tries to at least in a
Hmm.
framework that is not intuitive, but once you get into it, it sort of makes sense. Like this parachain auction offering that they're having right now. Well, Polkadot isn't having this parachain offering; it's Kusama. So Kusama is the one that's really launching this whole kind of Polkadot ecosystem thing, and through Kusama, then it's going to be transitioning to Polkadot. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff happening. A lot of wheels are turning here, but this all leads to Polkadot being potentially the hub of the entire blockchain ecosystem.
Yeah, or at least a major one. But
Yeah.
sorry. yeah, it's just important for anybody, who's a dot holder. Hopefully, you're paying attention to what's happening on Kusama, because yeah, largely there isn't much to talk about when it comes to Polkadot right now. Because like if you do your like investigation, all these teams that are saying great things about Polkadot, they're all currently busy and invested in the Kusama like network launch, right? Yeah, if you look down this list of all these sister projects for these these are Polkadot projects as well, to be like,
Yeah, and they
here.
have different names. Again, if you
Yeah.
don't know what's going on in the whole Polkadot ecosystem, there are again two networks, Polkadot and Kusama. They operate largely exactly the same. Kusama is what they're calling the canary network. So it's the way to test a lot of the functions that projects are building before it's actually onboarded to the real Polkadot network. So those projects that are trying to get onto Polkadot are launching on Kusama first. And a project, just to give you an example, called Akala, that's launching its project on Polkadot, is launching their project on Kusama called Karura. Right, so definitely check out some of our older videos. We recently talked about Karura and Shiden very briefly, but we explain a lot of this stuff that's happening on the Kusama network as far as crowd loans. But as you can see here, the different items here are the different projects, and they have their counterparts on the Polkadot ecosystem. So yeah, this just gives you an example of the crowd loans that's happening, and it starts tomorrow on June 15th. Right, and for 7 days, and for 7 days, there's going to be an auction of who is going to compete for the first slot in the Kusama network. Technically, it's the second slot, right? Because if I click here and I show you StateMine was like the first test parachain, and so that was like an internal parachain that was launched. So this one's officially has its first parachain on the Kusama network. But the first, I guess the second one is going to be could be either Karura, Shiden, or Moonriver. So
yeah, I guess it depends on like how many Kusama they have internally, right? That they're gonna bid with. So, but this is interesting because like, yeah, last time we looked at this crowd loan board, there was like one or two projects, so clearly the competition is heating up. And this is a big deal, man. Like over the next coming months, you're gonna see Kusama like become this flourishing ecosystem, right? And if you're a Polkadot, ecosystem community member, like it's important to pay attention to this because again, keep in mind these are largely the same projects that are going to exist on Polkadot, but they're right now testing their thesis, right? Like they're testing everything out on Kusama. So if you're looking for indication as far as like, okay, once the Polkadot parachains start auctioning off, who should I support? You kind of want to be paying attention to what's going on here, right? Because this is your best.
This is your best indicator of what's coming.
Yeah, for Polkadot, because they're going to be polishing a lot of their, Polkadot
kind of like functionality itself on Kusama.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, that's important to understand because a lot of people might not know like these are largely the same teams.
Yeah,
on both networks. So
yeah. So it's kind of weird. I mean, you made the comment that it's interesting that if you have a project trying to get onto the Polkadot ecosystem, you can kind of double dip in the market in a sense where you have the exact same project and it's running on the Polkadot network and it's also running on the Kusama network. So it's as if you are just taking advantage of, I guess, the setup. But I think it's necessary, but you're right. It's like if you look at the different tokenomics for the same project on Polkadot and Kusama, Kusama tends to have a larger community-focused launch versus Polkadot, which is a lot less community-focused in the sense of token allocation. So there could be a larger component for the DAO in the Kusama network than there is for Polkadot, but I think a lot of the functionality that exists on the Kusama and Polkadot are going to be the same. It's just how more involved you're going to be based on which project you like and where it's launched. Like, for example, if your project that you like, let's say Karura, is on the first auction and it achieves that status, then you're going to be paying a lot more attention to Kusama than any other project that's not already launched. So there's a huge competition happening right now, And this is the short list that right now is competing because this is on the Kusama like network interface.
Yeah. So this is it, man. This all this just to say like it's happening.
Yeah.
It's starting for Polkadot. You know, just because this isn't happening on Polkadot network yet, this is in essence like Polkadot's emergence. You know.
Yeah, this is the proving grounds.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to start, you know, paying more attention or heavily favoring as far as like, I don't know, not investment advice, but like at least time allocation.
Yeah.
Like investigating, you know, these projects, see how useful they are.
So I think, Iman, do you want to like take the rest of the week to kind of look into these projects? Should we cover them in the like the next videos that we do, or should we just like group them? Should we group them into like its sectors?
Did you fill out the poll? Like, did you ask the community?
Actually, I actually forgot.
Oh no, dude!
I did forget. You're right.
We're gonna go based off of that, but yeah, I guess maybe we'll put out the poll
because the poll did ask. I mean, that Kusama was launching their parachain auctions, and I asked the community if they wanted us to cover the different projects, and I think 90% said yes.
Okay, so I missed that one. Yeah. Then we do need to spend the rest of the week because tomorrow it's almost like a lock. Karura most likely is going to win that slot.
Yeah,
I'm calling it now.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely, but there is a closer race between Moon River and Shiden Network. Like, look at them; they're neck and neck, dude. They're both like around 3,000
to 3,600.
And it's interesting the fact that these two are neck and neck because I think you could bracket both these projects into like the same sector as far as like servicing, like what it is these protocols do. And I think they're mostly intended to be like bridging operators between, I guess for now, like Ethereum onto Polkadot, right? Like. They have Ethereum EVM compatible, I guess, like smart contract layers, right? Yeah. So you can easily deploy an existing DApp that's currently existing on Ethereum onto Polkadot through their technology, I guess.
Yeah, you brought up another good point that if Moon River or Shiden get on board first, if you're a developer waiting on the sidelines, like just trying to get onto one of these networks because you have a DApp that you want to deploy on the Kusama network, and you are using the tools that Shiden provided or Moon River provided, as soon as one of them wins an auction, then that's the one that the developer is going to choose because it's already live on the Kusama network, right? Mm-hmm. So if Moon River and Shiden have largely the same tool set as for the developer goes, there's no reason for the developer to wait for one project or the other. So that's why this is so competitive, and that's why this is going to determine, you know, who's going to be like one of the first movers to really get that network effect.
Yeah, we say that, but then now I'm recalling like all these projects out there who've been claiming to be like Polkadot ecosystem projects over the last, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. And if you go through like their you know docs and stuff like that, they made these early affiliations with like Moonbeam or Plasm way long ago, or Edgeware or whatever. Mm-hmm. So maybe there is less like importance as far as like the order of these things. You know, maybe if they already made like these agreements or like they made the active decision months in advance to only be, you know, working with Moon River or Moonbeam or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then it doesn't really matter, right? But maybe there's projects out there on the sideline that we're not aware of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of developers in every ecosystem. They're always looking for opportunity, right? So I guess in that sense, that time component does matter. Like if you get the second parachain slot, it's a much bigger deal than getting the 10th one because you got to wait, you know, a couple months.
Yeah, and there's a marketing value for being the second auction, right? To being the second parachain. So
true.
You would always going to be the second one, right? So
yeah, I think that marketing value hasn't been like showcased yet, but right, it hasn't been leveraged, correct?
Yeah,
but it will, like especially between Moon River and Shiden, right? Like that's a
difference maker.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting battle. You know, I'm sure they have like tons of internal discussions, like how much they hate each other, potentially, because whoever wins that is always going to have that over the other, right? Like, I mean, clearly we're better than, because like our community gave us more support than yours or something like that, you know?
Yeah, you know who? So Dan Reeser, I think, recently moved to the Akala network. So I forget which project he was on before. Previously on Polkadot, right? So he went from Polkadot to the Akala network. So that's basically Karura, right? The front runner right now for the Kusama network. And he's got an excellent explanation as to how Polkadot works, how Kusama works, and Akala as well. And so in one of his tweets, if you remember, he was saying that he's calling out all these quote unquote Polkadot projects, how they're not Polkadot projects until they're on the official parachain. And so that's why this is so confusing. I mean, if you're just like an average person just checking out what's going on and you see all these like quote unquote Polkadot projects, well, they're all not real. They're not Polkadot projects until they're officially launched on the Polkadot network, which is we're not even close to that. Right now it's Kusama first and then Polkadot.
Yeah, but see, that's another interesting thing is there's only 100 of these parachain slots. So obviously that doesn't mean like you have to be a parachain slot winner in order to exist on the network,
Sure,
right? Because
sure.
that would be infeasible. Like every ecosystem has potentially hundreds or thousands of projects that are actively building, right? So that's why like these projects like Plasm and
Moonbeam, yeah,
they're probably some of the most important ones because they're going to give the access point for like all these projects who don't have the resources to like compete in this auction process, you know? So yeah, those will probably be the first ones we end up covering.
Yeah,
most likely.
And Dan, if you're watching, we'd love to bring you on and talk about Polkadot and all that on our podcast. So hit us up and we'll talk.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so yeah, just what we wanted to go over basically this page here. The links will be in the description. It's not this is not user intuitive like how to use this interface for sure. But the link will be in the description. Keep an eye on this stuff. There's going to be new projects added to this. As soon as they're added, these guys are closer to actually launching, at least on the Kusama network. So we will be talking about most of these, if not all of them, at some point. So yeah, stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner and also at MetaZone.io. Follow us for Ethermon as well at Ethermon_NFT. And yeah, let us know what you think of Polkadot and the current Kusama auctions that are happening right now. And we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.